In this video, we're going to be breaking down the following typical themes for the caro-kann. How to play the Tartakower pawn structure against the two knights. What to do if white avoids that and goes for the modern mainline with queen e2. How to deal with the hyper-aggressive advanced variation. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna give away my best advice on how to improve at chess, no matter the level that you're at, whether it's 1000, whether it's 1500, 2000, you name it. If you do this thing, you're gonna be constantly improving in chess. Having the black pieces, and we're gonna be going for the caro-kann. We see knight c3, perhaps some two knights. Yeah, we are finally facing the two knights, I think first time during this rating climb, and you could definitely play bishop g4. That is like the most popular move in the position. Knight f6 is like fine as well, theoretically speaking. d4 I think it's kind of dubious. But personally I just like to take on e4 and then play knight f6. Just go back into like the Tartakower structure, taking on f6. And I really like that you can kill two birds with one stone pretty much by playing this knight f6 line against knight c3, and you can do the same thing against like the two knights. Just makes the caro-kann super simple to play. And against bishop c4, I think, yeah, like queen e7 could be a move. Also bishop d6. He has this line with a check, and then I think we're forced to play queen e7. And yeah, as Pismos is like pointing out, queen e2 is like main move in this position. And there are like many ways. I think I have played bishop e6 in my latest OTB game, and I think I lost. My opponent played insane game. Just like he found like some weird play with d3 that was first line on the engine. He crashed the hell out of me. But okay, against this, just bishop d6, and if they go for the check, gotta go for the endgame. It is what it is, but okay, looks like he simply castled, and we're gonna be getting these lines with the bishop to g4, I'm assuming. So remember, when the bishop is on e2, don't play bishop g4, but otherwise just pin the knight, because it's like really annoying. This could be a funny idea in some positions, setting up the little battery, but not here. I think against particularly bishop c4 lines, we could be going for these plans of getting the knight towards b6 to d5, because it comes with a tempo. Just keeping the tension. Okay, so he goes g4, which I would assume a lot of the lower rated players will do. It's just like a bit overextending, I would say. Maybe the position is still like close to equal, but it's definitely very dangerous for white to play in the long run. Just gonna be playing rook e8. I'd be happy if he takes, because we just take towards the center and then play g5. The thing is, just a lot of people can't really stand the spin, and instead of just playing bishop e2, retreating, they prefer g4. But it's like super risky on the long term, and it also creates a hole on f4 that we're gonna try to use by playing there with the idea to bring the knight towards f4. It's still like not super bad for white yet. I think it should be close to equal, but generally these positions tend to snowball pretty hard in like black's favor. So against knight h4, I think that is actually a good move, trying to play some f4 in some positions. Have to be careful about this bishop though. So I don't know, I'm kind of hesitating to take and play knight g6 because he has knight f5 ideas. Maybe I'll just play queen c7, keeping an eye on this diagonal. And in case of knight f5, perhaps we can take it. So he does take on g6 with a bishop, and taking with a knight would allow the same sort of annoying knight f5 moves. Perhaps it's not like that big of an issue, but I prefer taking this way because we can pick another route and say that this knight on h4 is kind of misplaced. By the way, this is like a super cool structure. I really like the way it looks. And it's also pretty good. Okay, so queen d2. 96, he wants to play f4, maybe. How do we deal with this? Maybe rook e4 is like a cool idea. Maybe he'll try f3. And we play rook e7. Try to say we have provoked some kind of weakening. Yeah, it's a pawn cube. That's exactly what it is. You guys really know your chess. I like my chat today. Idea to bring the rook. In case of f3, maybe just like rook back to e7. Maybe e6 is fine with ideas to like triple down the e-file. I think I'll prefer rook e6 then, just because of the extra options of tripling. Okay, let's double up. And f3, we might have ideas to take and then play bishop to f4. Okay, so this position just looks way easier to play as black now. With the ultra safe king thanks to the pawn cube and the rook on the outpost. It's not really like an outpost, because let's say if this pawn was on f4, it was an outpost, because if they can kick your piece, it's like, technically speaking, not an outpost. I give you the permission to call it an outpost, okay? That's fine. So this bishop, we take, we land the queen. They've got like queen g2. We can trade. Take with a knight, and on rook e2 there's rook f2. No bueno. Yeah, just using this idea seems fine. Just keeping it very simple. No need to complicate it yet. And this is a pretty unpleasant move for my opponent to deal with. Well, it's like kind of hard to touch these pawns now, because if I play g5, he's getting knight f5, and f5 might not be the best of ideas. Okay, I think we're winning on the spot now. Like here, we might have to break the pawn cube. Okay, that's not possible. That is not allowed, okay? I'm gonna be getting like an instant loss if I break the pawn cube. Okay, bishop g3, I guess. Fine, we're not gonna be breaking the pawn cube, I promise. Even though this would be like a juicy move now. Sort of fixing the squares, and then like the knight could potentially come over. That is like such a good move now. g5 is like perfect within the position, but we're like breaking the pawn cube. I'm not sure if you guys could actually like forgive me for it, but I'm afraid if I play queen e7, he's got like an f4 move. So we've gotta like break the cube now. Sorry for doing that. Now the knight is like coming, and we've just got like a much better position. It's not like the end of the game, guys, because we could potentially be getting in a situation where I play g6, f5, f6, and it's like same pawn cube, it's just like advancing. Okay, so like against f4, why can't we just take knight f4, bishop takes, rook takes, we can like sack the queen. Yeah, that just wins. Knight f4, same motive, I would assume. By the way, this is also kind of winning in the position that we're seeing on the board, because like rook e3 and then bishop f4 looks kind of winning. Just winning like a piece, but also like taking, rook takes, and then rook e3 wins. So many winning moves. Like here, rook e2 wins. No, but he's got like queen e2 there. That's the only thing that doesn't win. It's okay, just gonna be taking. And then this bishop f4 kind of finishes the game. Yeah, they've ruined our pawn cube, but at least I think we got like a winning position now. So yeah, I mean, that's how you would with a pawn cube. Pretty much just keep the pawn cube, step number 1. Then step number 2, advance g5. And you just like win with the pawn cube. And now he's obviously just lost because of the pin. So we can trade queens. Yeah. Just going for it pretty much. Gonna like set up the knight to f4. Gonna be giving this check, forcing king somewhere, and then knight f4. Winning the pawn on h3. Then also g4 will be dropping. Just no counterplay. Go for the fork. Okay, that was nice with the pawn cube. Okay, we're getting the black pieces and facing e4, playing the caro-kann, c6, d5. We're getting an advanced line, gonna be playing bishop f5, and we are facing the super aggressive g4 move. There are many ways of playing against this. I think one of the super common ones is to play bishop d7, trying to get back into a French. I think that is like a bit inferior though. That's like the easier way of playing for sure, if you're looking for like an easy weapon. I think best though is something like bishop e4, f3, bishop g6, and then there are like some crazy lines when they can sacrifice the pawn with e6, or even in this fashion. Are we playing h6 or h5? I don't remember that. I think h5, then they do this. If they don't play e6, then this setup just doesn't make any sense. Okay, g5 is just like a superb strategic position now for us. Like point was I think e6 here, as far as I can remember, and then queen d6 is the move. I remember having some analysis here. So the problem with this g5 move is actually that, well, it simply gives us a super juicy square for the knight on like f5, and yeah, bishop is like really safe. This is gonna be a small weakness in the long term, and black is just like super comfortable. Preparing to like bring the knight out, I guess. Could also break c5, play knight c6, queen b6. Many ways of doing this. I think black is already slightly better. So after a pretty long think, opponent comes up with this bishop d3 move. Now the question is whether we first take on d3 or we play knight e7. I think I like knight e7 and not really with the idea to take with a knight, but I have this point of taking with a pawn that I thought was kind of interesting. Maybe not so clever after all, thinking back, but okay, I think we're just gonna be taking and then playing knight f5, because he can't really play g6 now. This would be the desired move, but the pawn on h4 would drop. Or at least I thought. Maybe he had knight f2, but then seems queen d4 was winning. So knight f4, simply reinforcing this idea, but we can simply play g6, and you have to like understand the difference between these pawns and these pawns. Let's actually highlight them with green like this. So these guys are defending each other, and yeah, he's got a knight on f4. We also need to understand the difference between this one, and let's actually color it like this. This knight is hitting the defended pawn, while this knight is hitting the undefended pawn, which has to, you know, force something to defend it on like long term. That's why like the knight on f5 is just much better than white's. And after knight d2, I think can play c5. That's sort of the ideal move. And then knight c6. Play c3, we're just getting the best development possible. Now this is a big threat, taking the pawn. He plays b3, but yeah, I mean, already I think his position was much worse because of like dc. You can take with a bishop, then this is hanging. You could also take immediately. And after b3, we simply get to collect the free pawn and see how our beautiful strategy ends up on top, just like taking the free stuff. And this is just an amazing outcome for the caro-kann. Sort of the dream scenario, let's say. I don't really expect a lot of players to weaken their position this badly, but I mean, you get a good feeling of what it looks like, and thinking to develop there, just hitting the pawn. Queen b6 was played with the idea to defend this. Just gonna go there, yeah. It's kind of tricky for him to defend, not gonna lie. I don't see a way to protect the pawn on e5. He's going bishop a3, trying to say that my king is caught in the center, but I can probably say the same about his. So just taking the free pawn, hitting the knight as well. And on knight e2, I think we can simply take it, and on queen e2, we can like force an endgame if needed. Perhaps better just go check. And on king e2, at the very least can pick up the exchange. Okay, so this, king f1, knight e3, king g1. What is like the finish? Okay, knight c4 simply. Looks to be good. I want something like more clear though. Go for like the boring queen e3. Like a caro-kann player. Man. Alright. Gonna be boring caro-kann players. Gonna be playing queen e3. Pretty sure anything was winning there. But just you've gotta keep it simple sometimes. Keeping it very, very simple. Just trading queens and then playing king d7, rook c8. And trading rooks on the c file. Not really much opponent can do about it. Yep, just gonna be taking back. King e2. Knight's coming to f5, threatening to go knight g3 as well. Bishop is really nice, controlling this diagonal and controlling the ideal square where white would like to infiltrate on. So we're just like super safe from that perspective, and now just gonna use this plan that I mentioned, bringing rooks into the game. Just a super casual win. Opponent plays rook h3, but we can do the same thing as I was mentioning. This rook is like really passive. I told you in the beginning, like this rook has to babysit the pawn forever. It doesn't really matter at this point because I'm like completely winning, but it's something you wanna like keep an eye on. So we see knight e3. Could just trade everything. That's just the sort of super simple approach. Bringing the rook into the game. Idea play like rook c3 or maybe rook c2, hitting the pawn. This could be a threat in some positions. Trading bishops. Plays a4, but now rook b2, winning another one. Just because his rook is stuck on the h file. Oh, he actually has b4 saving the pawn, but I guess it's just dead lost. So the thing is, if we force that, he's got some kind of king e5 move that's a little bit annoying if trying to infiltrate. So instead, I'm just gonna be playing, I think, bishop d6. Hitting the pawn and b5. Rook a2 is a safe way to win another pawn. Yeah, just gonna go for like the super simple stuff, collecting another pawn. No need to look for better. Oh, he's got a5. Dude, I keep missing ways for him to save the pawn. But I think finally there's no way to defend this guy. I think this might be finally winning the pawn. I like missed so many moves. That is insane. But okay, this is not gonna save the pawn. We see rook h1. Just gonna be playing rook b3 check and then rook b2. Or I mean, it doesn't really matter. Probably just e5, king e6. That's sort of the simplest way. Just e5, advancing pawns. Really, really easy win. Again, like even if he manages to somehow activate, it doesn't really matter. Like he's got no targets, nothing. Everything is defended. Like he can check me once, sure he can have that, but king d5 is coming. And then he doesn't really have any other moves. Rook d8, but how do we make some further progress? Maybe just like this. Could be an idea. Okay, I'm not having that much time. Kind of regretting king d5 as a move. Looks to be better located on f5. And on rook d8. Maybe just trade bishops. I think that's like simple enough. He can take, play rook d7, but I mean, king e6 looks simplest. Rook c7 and then f6. Trading some more pawns, and we're up like 3 pawns in the rook endgame. That should be good. Okay, he tries to keep bishops, but can't we just go to b1? I don't see how he is willing to defend, because now we have bishop a3. He's sort of losing the bishop. I mean, he has rook c8, but makes it easier for us to win. Just like collecting all the pawns. Okay, I think that was like pretty smooth. Facing a 1600, so I believe this is like highest rated that we faced in the rating climb so far, and he opens up with e4. Gonna be going for the caro-kann. Knight f3, getting our pawn to d5, and we're facing the two knights. Gonna be taking and playing knight f6 with the idea to get back into the doubled f pawn structure that is like very familiar for us. And we do actually see queen e2 for the first time in the series, which is actually the most critical line, I would say. And there are definitely many ways of playing here. I think we're gonna be taking, and queen d5 is sort of like the most popular way of playing this, but I like just queen a5 is also like a line idea to develop the bishop to like f5. Yeah, just developing the bishop. They can play queen e5, but we can like trade and play e6. And games are like perfectly fine. Yeah, queen f4 is a move. Just gonna be playing e6 and then knight e7. We pretty much develop like knight e7, bishop e7. We castle short, and you shouldn't really try to grid out to this pawn. You don't really need it. Okay, opponent plays knight d4. I think we just like sidestep back to g6. I don't want to give him my bishop, my precious bishop. Continuing with this, I guess. So we see knight b3. Opponent's kind of chasing away my queen. I think at this point queen f5 is maybe like a perfectly playable move. Trying to figure out whether queen c7 can give him any like realistic chances. Maybe that's like a bit annoying, so just gonna play queen d8. Think that's just fine. Maybe even grabbing a tempo with bishop d6 next. So white goes d3 in this position. As I was saying, I think it's like a good moment to just grab that nice tempo and castle on the next move. Sort of delaying development of the knight a bit, but he will most likely come to d7, then heading towards e5. Yep. Threatening this and winning the bishop pair. Big positional threat. I think we make like same move in case he goes bishop f4. Just go knight e5. Even though knight b6 might also be interesting, because bishop's kind of trapped on c4, by the way. Oh, I missed b5, dude. Like I could have. Oh, that was this move. So I can say I was clever. Yeah, but like I just blundered that b5 was a move. But it wasn't working yet in like first moment. But now this is actually could be a threat. But I still queen c6. He's not a threat yet, surprisingly. But like if he plays bishop f4, we can actually take and then go b5, and then this is trapped. So he goes a4, seizing that, but just like knight e5 should be fine. And I think maybe throwing in such queen h4 move could be fun, because, well, we've got this idea with mate, and also like g3 we've got like queen h3 with this jump, and the h3, I don't know, maybe h3 is fine, but still better for us. And now just queen h3, I think. This is big threat, I think. Maybe it's not really. Perhaps this is the threat. Trying to get the bishop there. He's gonna have to play f3 and then I don't know how we make progress. Perhaps just like, okay, so he goes f4. Don't we have this? So we go there. That just kind of wins. Oh, he's got queen g2 that I forgot about. I'll have to trade queens, take queen c4 and play this endgame. That is like slightly better. The opponent finds it. taking the bishop pair now, and actually this sequence might have been clever because I have bishop e2 at the end of the line, but that was out of pure luck, I would say. I haven't really seen this in advance, but it felt kind of natural, so we're just like winning the pawn with like a completely winning position now. Opponent plays rook e1, just gonna be taking the free pawn on c4 and then bishop d5 ideas next. I don't think we need to rush with taking, even though we could. Just bringing the rook seems fine. Okay, so we see knight c5. Can actually go for the opposite colored bishop endgame because we end up collecting the second pawn. Okay, so like the fury thing, sure, would be really nice if you could play without fury, but it's just like really important, and I feel like it's what a lot of the people are missing, and yeah, they tend to see gaps in other parts of their game, which is kind of true, because if you're not like an IM or like a GM, you have like a lot of gaps in a lot of areas of the game. But I mean, let's be honest. Let's give an example. You study a lot of, I don't know, strategy, endgames, whatever, you name it. But if I like check out your games, I see your opponent gets like a plus minus position from the opening frequently. You're never really gonna be able to apply those principles and plans if you're just like having a trashy opening. So I think the way chess works right now, openings are really huge. So it's really good that you're focusing on that, I would say. But also make sure to have like a lot of model games. So opponent simply takes on c5 as expected. Just gonna go like rook d2, collect the second pawn. Taking that. You can force a bit of rooks off. Rook c1 is like a good move, otherwise this is gonna... So like he finds this idea, but position is just like completely winning with 2 extra pawns. Hopefully I'll be able to show why. Kind of want to go a5, but then he plays b5. I think we start this way, and I'll try to bring the king over like this if allowed. Yeah, I would say just, you know, piece most if you're just trying to improve. Keep focusing on the openings, do a lot of practice, and small trick that you can use but quite effective whenever you like play games. Make sure to like set up your formula to like yeah, in such fashion that you're gonna be facing as tricky of an opposition as you can. So you just want to be playing a lot of high rated players than you, because that's sort of the easiest way to improve, playing stronger people, even though it's gonna give you like a hard time and a lot of, you know, mixed feelings. You've got to go for it, and yeah, you will overcome that in the end. So opponent plays b5, just gonna be activating the king. No need to like touch that side of the board just yet. If he takes, I'm taking back with a bishop. And now could potentially activate this way. I'm gonna be playing a6, even though kind of have to play it just because this way is the only way I can actually ever activate the rook. I think I might have misplayed the position a bit, but it still looks completely winning. Hey Facolino, welcome to stream. So opponent plays king f2. If I go there, he wants rook c5 check perhaps. So maybe start with f6 and potentially could be activating the rook this fashion. I mean, if he goes for the check, I'm really gonna play king g4. So see if he plays like h3 or not. If h3, maybe I go bishop g2 trying to provoke h4. That might be a clever move. Allowing rook c7 on the other hand, I'm not like sure, but I'm gonna go for it. Just king g6, I think he's kind of forced to go there. Because g4, I think, yeah, he's going there. Just bishop back, and then I'll be constantly threatening this. It's just a matter of time to get it. I'll need to keep rooks on the board, because otherwise if we trade rooks, he's actually like getting close to create a fortress. But I've got this idea now that's looking pretty interesting, and if I manage to activate my rook, I think it's gonna become really tricky for my opponent to like defend. So rook e7 simply, I don't know what this move was meant to achieve. Probably it just goes back. Rook e7 next, check. And then could actually play this move with the idea to bring the king towards g4. Could also do it this way, but as I was saying, like, have a feeling I need to keep rooks, and I think best way to play this is actually trying to get rook to like third rank, and whenever they play king f2, have this check on f3, they're kind of dropping the g3 pawn. Looks like a bit trickier to understand, but I think you're gonna see it on the board. And I think this is like a good move, like a good try, but I think now it allows king f5 with like perfect timing and get king out to g4. And we're like slowly breaking through. Now just like rook g1 maybe, or like simply back to d5. We're not in a hurry. Just getting king to like g4 next should be good. If rook e3, I think we've got bishop b5 check and rook d2, something like that. Maybe he has king e1 that I've missed, but still, gonna play this move first. Again, we're not in a rush. Rook here, rook c2. He's like, he forgot about the bishop, but after rook c2 was sort of easily winning because king was getting sort of caged. I think the transition was like pretty clean overall, even though it might, look still complex because I only won because of a blunder, but I think his position was like really close to like falling apart. So to me, it looked okay. And now, yeah, just forcing this endgame. I think easiest way to win. Maybe it's a bit inaccurate because he's got like a pawn. Maybe that's the only way to lose. This was stupid what I just did, but this was so stupid. Okay, he resigns, but maybe he's winning in the final position. I don't know. No, it's actually like winning for me. Well, it could, go either way with that pawn. I was a bit hasty with this move, like, okay, e5 wins. He's just like too slow. I thought maybe he can like push that pawn, but he's just like not in time. I did not calculate this, but again, obviously this is like simplest way all the time to like force pieces off and then win. I played it automatically. I should have tried to calculate a bit because it was, could have pretty much have been a gamble there, but we got the win. Thanks a lot for making it this far into the video, and if you're looking for more content, make sure to check out some of the previous episodes from the same series.